It's finally here, the all-new Aqara Hub M3. Many of us have been waiting for this. It's Aqara's first multi-protocol hub, Wi-Fi, Zigbee, infrared, Bluetooth, Thread, and for the first time you can add third-party Matter devices to your Aqara Hub. Well, sort of. Could this be the ultimate smart home hub to eliminate all smart home hubs? Well, you'll just have to watch to find out. We got a lot to cover. Let's go. Yo, what's up guys? My name is Shane and this channel is all about building an easy Apple home, smart home with new videos and live streams published every week right here. As of today, Aqara's new Hub M3 is officially available to purchase. As you could probably tell, I did receive one early so that I could test it out and, share it with you here on the channel. This was sent to me free of charge, just full disclosure there. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you probably know that I've been a big fan of Aqara smart home products for a long time. And while this video is not sponsored by Aqara, they have sponsored my channel before. Again, just try to be upfront about all that. Regardless, you're gonna get my honest thoughts on this. As always, I don't hold back, as you will probably soon see. Now, Aqara sells lots of smart home products, most of which are Zigbee-based products and require one of their many Zigbee hubs to connect to your smart home. This Aqara M3 is Aqara's first multi-protocol hub. So in addition to Zigbee, it also supports Thread, infrared Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. Aqara is calling this, quote, the premier all-in-one hub with multi-protocol support and Matter bridge functionality. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, there is a big asterisk beside this statement. We'll come back to this here in just a minute. Aqara is also calling the M3 an Edge Hub, a new generation of Aqara hubs with a focus on local control and automations. The M3 is upgrade friendly and supports migrating Zigbee devices from older Aqara hubs to this new one. If you don't know what all that means, bear with me. I am gonna explain it all in this video. This hub is also equipped with a loud 95 decibel speaker that you can use in your automations, as well as 8 gigabytes of local storage for device logs and automations. Again, focusing on that local control and processing there. There are no cameras or microphones built in, and it supports end-to-end encryption of transmitted and stored data. Now again, there's a lot to cover. I will have chapters available down below if you want to skip around to any specific part. Let's take a moment to thank today's sponsor, trendmicro. You got to protect yourself online, and I have been using the trendmicro premium security suite to do that on all of my devices for years now. This adds extra protection against malware, viruses, ransomware, and other threats. You can use it on up to 10 devices, including Macs, PCs, iPhones, iPads, you name it. It also includes a VPN that turns any public hotspot into a secure Wi-Fi connection, as well as other tools like identity theft protection, parental controls, and even 24/7 emergency assistance. Check out the link in the description below and use code SHANE10 for 10% off your purchase of the Premium Security Suite. Big thanks to trendmicro for protecting all of my family's devices and for sponsoring today's video. All right, let's see what's in the box. Here we go, the highly anticipated Aqara M3 hub. It's made of thick plastic with a matte black finish on the top, Aqara logo and LED status indicator as well. On the side, we can see a HomeKit code as well as an Aqara QR code. There's also a single tactile button. Flip it over and we can see the speaker grill that goes around the whole bottom. It features a loud 95 decibel speaker, like I said. You can also see all the protocols listed here, including Zigbee, Thread, and Bluetooth. In the middle, we have a spot for Ethernet, as well as USB-C for power. We also get our user guide, a USB Type-C to Type-A charging cable. There is no power brick, so you will have to supply your own. We have mounting hardware and a mounting bracket in case you want to mount this to a wall or even the ceiling. If so, you'll just screw the mounting plate into the wall and slide the M3 hub on it like so. Here is everything you get in the box. This hub supports multiple connection methods as well as connection protocols. So you can connect it via RJ45 connection plus power supply, RJ45 connection with power over Ethernet, or Wi-Fi plus the power supply. It does support both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi if you do choose to connect it over Wi-Fi. I'd say if you can hardwire this, do so. I'll connect mine via Ethernet cord and power supply. You can see the hub starts flashing. Upon opening the Aqara app, I can see that my device is automatically detected. Tap on it and then scan that Aqara code on the side. You'll then be asked to give the Aqara app access to your home network. Once you do this, your hub should now be paired successfully to the app. You can change the name, location, and add a device card, which shows up in the Home tab of the Aqara app. Then we can begin the journey of IoT. Oh, how exciting. You have two options here: connect your hub and any child devices to a Matter supported ecosystem, or connect your hub to HomeKit. I imagine for many people, maybe who don't dabble in smart home tech and stuff like that every day like me, might find this a little bit confusing, may not know what to do here. So we'll discuss this a little bit more here in a minute. For now, I'll go with Matter and connect it that way. I'll tap on the Matter pairing code, which will put it in pairing mode. I can then add the hub to my Apple Home app. You could do this with whatever smart home ecosystem you use, be it Apple Home, Alexa, SmartThings, Google Home, etc. To be honest, probably should have just waited for this part. I would recommend doing so, especially if you have other Aqara hubs or child accessories that you want to migrate over to this new hub, which is what I want to do. So going back to the Aqara app, we can see that I do have a firmware update available. I'll go ahead and do that first. Once that's done, it's time to migrate all of my child accessories from my other Aqara hub to this new one. Now, before the M3 hub, this is not something that you could do with any of the Aqara hubs, so I'm very glad to see this option available. I'll go to the hub settings, and at the bottom, you can see hub migration. There's a lot to read over here. Just make sure you know what you're doing, take your time, read through it and everything. You can see I have only one hub right now in my setup. That's the M1S hub. That's the hub that I currently have all my child accessories paired to. I get a prompt asking if I'm sure I want to do this. We can see three things here that will happen. Current data will be cleared from the new hub. The new hub will then receive data from the old hub, and the old hub will be restored to a factory setting. Tap replace to start the process. Surprisingly, only took a few seconds for this to happen. I expected it to take much longer for some reason. If I go back and look at the child devices, I can see all of my accessories now paired to the new hub. I did notice that some of them, while they were paired successfully to the new hub, did seem to be unresponsive. I did find a pretty easy way to fix this. I just found the device or sensor that was unresponsive and then kind of add it like it's a new accessory. So hold the button for a few seconds and then re-add the device in the Aqara app, again, like it's a new device. The app will recognize the device as the one that's not responding and will kind of just fill it in its place. So that was nice. If you do have this issue, I recommend doing the same thing. Don't delete your unresponsive child accessories out of the app. Like I said, just add a new one and it should replace the unresponsive one with the same name, automations, and all the same settings. Now, when I go to the Matter section, you can see that it shows that I've not connected it to any ecosystem. That's because I did that hub migration, which removed all the previous settings of the hub. So I'll go through that same process to add the hub to HomeKit via Matter right now. And now we can see that it will start bringing in all of my connected child accessories. Unfortunately, none of the names come over when you do this through Matter. So you will have to reassign the names for each accessory that you add to the Apple Home app. Now, my older M1S hub that was, in the Apple Home app will show up as unresponsive along with all the child accessories and stuff that were paired to it. And that's because that hub was basically wiped clean and restored to a factory default setting when we did that hub migration. So I would want to just remove that hub from Apple Home since we're replacing it anyways with the new hub. And that's the hub migration process. All in all, I'd say they did a really good job with it. It went smoother than I really expected it, to be honest. There's a little bit of frustration, especially if you're using HomeKit, as you will have to, reconfigure all of your Aqara accessories as well as the associated scenes or automations in the Home app. On the other hand, Google Home and Alexa will retain all the configurations as both of those integrations are cloud-based. If you remember, there is an option to connect the hub to HomeKit without using Matter, so you can kind of do both. It's a little confusing, I know. You can't actually do both at the same time. If you add the M3 to Apple Home via both the Matter integration and the HomeKit integration, it would result in duplicate hubs and child devices in the Apple Home app, so just be aware of that. There are slight differences between the two methods. The HomeKit integration will expose the hub as a security system, so you get that security system accessory in the Apple Home app, and you can use that in automations and stuff like that. You'll also get some other features like adaptive lighting, maybe for certain Aqara child accessories. Those features you won't get when you integrate the hub into Apple Home via Matter. What is kind of cool, I guess, is that I think you can use both of these integrations simultaneously, at least that's what it seems like. So I can use the HomeKit integration to add the hub to Apple Home if I want, but use the Matter integration for other smart home ecosystems that I might be using like Google Home or even Homey Pro. The M3 Hub essentially supports 3 categories of devices that you can pair to the hub: Aqara devices, third-party Matter devices, and IR devices. So let's cover each real quickly. Adding Aqara devices to the hub is pretty straightforward, just like it's always been. The big difference here with the M3 hub over the other Aqara Zigbee hubs is that we can now add those newer Aqara Thread devices to the M3 hub, since again, this is the first Aqara hub to have Thread support. So let's add this Aqara P2 motion and light sensor to the hub. To pair this, just tap New Device and look for the Aqara Motion and Light Sensor P2. Go through the prompts, holding the button and then scanning the code. After a few moments, it is added successfully to the Aqara Home app. Change the name and location if you wish. Adding Aqara Zigbee devices to the hub is pretty much the same process. So one thing to note with the Zigbee versus Thread accessories paired to the hub, all the Zigbee accessories will then be automatically exposed to your smart home ecosystem where the bridge is paired to like Apple Home. For those Thread accessories, like the Aqara P2 motion sensor that we just paired, for this you will have to also go in and add the device individually in your Apple Home ecosystem, because this will not automatically be added through the hub since this one uses Thread. Next, I wanted to try adding a third-party device to the Aqara Hub. That's another big selling point of this product, the ability to add third-party Matter devices, right? Well, I should have probably read the fine print a little bit closer. So this here is an Eve Matter over Thread sensor. I figured I'd be able to connect this one because it's a Matter over Thread. This hub supports Matter and Thread. Well, after putting the Eve sensor into pairing mode and trying to add it to the Aqara app, I get an error saying access to the Matter device is not currently supported. Yeah, so that's that big asterisk I was talking about earlier. Currently, at the time of launch, the M3 Hub supports only the following third-party Matter devices: select single color and RGB lights from Philips Hue connected via the Hue bridge, electrical switches and dimmers from Leviton, and thermostats from Google Nest. That's it. So this was a pretty big disappointment for me. Hell, I couldn't even test this because I don't have any of those supported devices. Now, in my opinion, if that's all you can support here, you're best not to advertise that you can add third-party Matter devices to the Aqara Hub. When you say that, I think, okay, this hub supports Wi-Fi and Thread. It's the premier all-in-one hub, right? So I should be able to add any Matter over Wi-Fi or Matter over Thread device to this hub, something like you can do with Hubitat or Homey Pro, right? Not in this case. When I asked the spokesperson from Aqara about this, I was told, we are working on it and we are committed to test and support more device types and brands. But unfortunately, it will take more time to develop this support. The device landscape is quite complex. We will have an official update once more device types are supported. So what's kind of surprising to me about all this is that this is limited, just to select brands, which is kind of weird. Not device types or categories. So I could almost understand it a little bit better, I think, if the limitation was just on device types, but brands too, I don't know. Yeah, not cool. I don't think, based on my experience with other multi-protocol smart hubs like Hubitat or Homey or whatever, I think if you support Matter third-party accessories, you should be able to connect all Matter over Thread or all Matter over Wi-Fi accessories, like I said, or at least specific device types. I really don't see what the brand has to do with it. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. Not really what I was expecting. All right, rant over. Moving on, the third category we mentioned was IR devices. So the Hub M3 is also equipped with a built-in 360-degree IR blaster. That means it can be used to control IR devices similar to the Aqara M2 hub and the G3 camera hub. The nice thing here is that you can not only control the IR device, but the hub recognizes when the device is controlled in another way. Like if you use a conventional IR remote, maybe you like to use the IR remote and the Aqara app, it will sync the status in the Aqara app, which is nice, if you're using the IR device and like automations or anything like that. The M3 can also expose an infrared AC or heat pump to Matter, allowing you to control and automate the AC in your other Matter ecosystems, like Apple Home, for example. Now there is a limit of only one AC device though that can be exposed to Matter via the hub. So it does not expose the other IR devices like your TV or whatever to Matter, but it can do that with an AC device. Now personally, I don't really have many IR devices, but if you do, this could be a great way to add some smart home functionality to those devices. Again, those devices don't get exposed to Matter other than the single AC device. You can, however, get these IR devices into HomeKit through Aqara Scenes, which is kind of nice. I actually made a whole video about that, which I'll link down below in the description if you want to check that video out next. Now let's talk about edge computing and local automations. If you have other Aqara hubs already and you add the M3 hub to your network, not doing the migration, but adding it, then it will become the lead over your other Aqara Zigbee hubs, enhancing their local automation capabilities. The alternative, if you have another Aqara hub, is like we did earlier, is to migrate all of the Zigbee devices from that hub to this new M3 hub. Now, prior to the M3 hub, automations between multiple hubs were executed in the cloud. When you add an M3 hub to your network, those automations between, multiple hubs become edge automations, as they call it, which means they can run locally on the M3 without the need for the cloud. So it'll run even if the internet is down, which is nice. On top of that, some Aqara Zigbee devices like the ceiling light, the T1 light strip, and the dual relay module T2 can still execute automations, simple automations, even if your M3 hub is down for whatever reason. All this really just means more local control and communication, which is always a good thing. The Aqara app includes a security system feature. On the homepage, if you tap on the shield icon, you'll be taken there. Personally, I don't really use this currently. I used to use this a lot, but I don't currently use this feature. But it is a great way to build out like a simple DIY security system if you don't already have one. You can create settings for a home, away, and night mode, as well as a 24/7 alert mode. The 24/7 mode is for things that you want, like always to be monitored around the clock, things like water sensors and stuff like that. You can choose which child accessories will trigger the different modes. You can configure other settings like entry and exit delays, schedules, and more. As mentioned earlier in the video, these alarm modes are also exposed to HomeKit, but only when using the HomeKit integration, not Matter. I've always really liked the simplicity of creating and using automations in the Aqara app. I think there's a lot of power here. If something happens, do something else. It's very simple to set up, but it's very powerful. So you can choose what happens when a door sensor is opened, closed, or open for a certain amount of time, for example. You can even add conditions and choose whether you require any or all of those conditions to be met. Let's use a door sensor here to show you some of the automation capabilities with the M3 built-in speaker. You can play an alarm sound or you can play a custom ringtone. So this can be really cool. For example, I created some custom ringtones to serve as notifications for my gates and saved them to the M3. You can see the ones that I've already added here, or you can tap edit and import new ones. Here's a little automation that I've created for my gates.
The left gate is open. The right gate has been open for 5 minutes.
Similarly, you can create scenes in the Aqara app to control multiple accessories. So I mentioned this briefly before, but you can also export these scenes from the Aqara app to Apple HomeKit. Now you can even do this with the custom sounds on the M3 or other things here in the Aqara app to give you the ability to automate and use those same features in HomeKit. All right, so what are my final thoughts on this hub? Should you buy one? Well, if you're looking to get into the Aqara ecosystem for the first time, or maybe you're just interested in some of the Aqara child accessories, like, the mini sensors that they have, light switches, all that stuff, you will want a hub. If I was buying an Aqara hub today for the first time, I'd most likely get this M3 hub. It's basically a souped up version of the M2 hub. You can hardwire it via Ethernet, which is great. That should be more reliable and stable, than having to rely on your Wi-Fi network like many of the other Zigbee hubs. It also has the IR blaster and that pretty loud speaker that you can utilize, for an alarm system or various automations. And of course, it does act as a Zigbee hub, allowing you to connect all of those awesome child accessories to your smart home. And you can also connect Aqara Thread devices if that's something you want to do, since this now has Thread built in. On the other hand, if you are an existing Aqara user and you're already happy with your current hub and setup, everything's working great, I really don't see the huge benefit of upgrading to the M3 hub right now. There is more and better local support for processing automations and things like that, which is nice. But if you don't have any issues right now with your current setup, I really don't think you'll see much benefit in adding the M3 hub unless this hub has some features like the speaker or IR blaster that your current hub doesn't have. Now, the exception, of course, would be if you're currently running automations across multiple hubs in your house, multiple Aqara hubs. So if you already have multiple Aqara hubs with child accessories and stuff paired to these different hubs. Adding the M3 would allow those automations to run locally, which should just make them more stable and reliable. Now, whether you already have a single Aqara hub or multiple hubs, you can either add the M3 hub to your current setup and it will take that leadership role like we discussed earlier over your other hubs for automations and things like that, or you can migrate child accessories from your older hub to the new M3 if you just want to completely replace that old one like I did. When I first heard about the M3, I had envisioned Aqara making the ultimate Matter smart hub. I mean, that's basically what they're saying, right? The premier all-in-one hub that supports multiple protocols and all that. That means something that you can connect any smart home device to, or at least any Matter device to. That's what I envisioned. This is not that. It's unfortunate because I think the Aqara Home app has some very powerful automation capabilities, but the fact that they claim this supports third-party Matter accessories, quite honestly, is laughable, to be honest. Sure, they do support a very, very limited few third-party Matter devices, but that won't help most of us. If they could add support to all Matter over Thread devices or Matter over Wi-Fi devices, well, then that claim would mean something. Then and only then could the Aqara M3 hub be the ultimate multi-protocol all-in-one smart home hub. But for now, it's not. It's not a replacement for something like Hubitat or Homey Pro or Home Assistant, anything like that, just to be clear. Let's just look at this for what it is. Another Aqara hub for your Aqara child accessories, at least right now. It's a great hub with a lot of features. I do love my Aqara Zigbee devices. I'm sure I'll be using them for many years to come, and they will need a hub, and this is the one I'll use. But this will not be my ultimate Matter multi-protocol hub for all my Matter accessories, not anytime soon anyways. The M3 hub is available right now globally for $129.99 US. I have an affiliate link down below. Using the links down there do greatly help support this channel so I can keep making videos like this. I should also have a discount code, which I'll put down there as well. Hopefully you can save a few bucks if you decide to get one of these. If you have any questions at all, let me know down in the comments. We covered a lot. I've also done a number of videos on the various Aqara products and capabilities. I put all that in a playlist that you can find right over here. Check it out if interested. Thanks again to Trendmicro for sponsoring today's video. Protect yourself online with their premium security suite. Link and discount code are below for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.